Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can tell with the coronavirus, things have been a little tough and it's a bit hard to get the season underway. So in today's video, I'm going to take you through my 2020 bikes. They're all pretty sick. They're pretty custom. Before we get into today's video, obviously the coronavirus has been absolutely massive. I'm totally sorry for you guys who have been affected one way or another. So here we are. This is the first bike that I want to talk about. This is my DMR Trailstar. I've had this since day one, since signing on with DMR. This is basically my out and out do it all bike. Certainly in the winter it's the dream because there's no bearings or anything to look after, which any of you guys who know my mechanical know-how know not all there. Coronavirus, obviously a massive problem for a number of us. This was my daily and it was almost my saving grace. This is the bike that I took out for various cross-country rides. Obviously we didn't want to do anything mental, put strain on the NHS. So as you can see, we've got the DMR Trailstar in extra large. So that is why you see that. One thing how you can tell if it's the bigger model, because it has that upright strut. Obviously we've gone for the anniversary electric blue, but it's probably named something else and I'm going to get a telling off. So these were actually the original colors of the original DMR Trailstar, so obviously had to go for this rather than the black. As you're well aware, I ride for Fox UK. On the front we've got the Fox 36s. Now getting a bit more techie with it, I actually run 4 tokens in these forks. The main reason for that is it's a hardtail and I find that I don't want my front diving too much. Obviously I haven't got any rear suspension. I actually run those pretty hard at the front. Do want a bit of cushioning by any means, but as I said, this isn't really a go mental bike for me. This is very much turned into a cross-country bike. Do a little couple of jumps here and there, do a couple of trails. I've actually got a 30-tooth chainring, the DMR blade chainring on there to get me up the hills. Straight away, DMRX cranks. These are actually the older versions. Can't talk about those without mentioning the main man himself. They are the DMR Brendog Volt pedals. Obviously being a good friend of mine and all that good stuff, I get bullied into riding those. One thing you'll notice with these particular pedals, I'm running the normal pins, and when we come on to the other 2 bikes, they're very much gravity orientated bikes. I'm not sponsored by SRAM or anything like that, but we're running 11 speed. You know, gets me up the hills. As I said, I've got a 32 from the front. Obviously we can't talk about this bike without mentioning this thing here. This is the DMR OiOi seat in snow camo. As you saw from the first shot, all of my bikes run different colored saddles, so obviously the snow camel goes pretty well with the blue, I thought anyway. This is sort of my all mountain cross country bike, get the miles in, but it's got the halo vortexes on there, so if I do decide to do like mini downhills or whatever, it's definitely got a wheel set that's up to the job. So as you can see, we've got the colored decals on here, and as you can even see, we've got the muck off valves in there as well, along with the Tamwell Onza tires. So obviously the Onza tires, these are the Citius. They're super fast rolling, and along with the halo wheels, it's obviously got the Super Drive hub. Listen to that thing. Makes loads of noise. The cool thing that I actually really love with this bike, it's nice and simple. So in the winter, if you do get it really crappy, it's not the end of the world with the bearings and all that good stuff. I've actually changed the seat post for this year. So this is running 170mm dropper. So it basically means for my longer legs, when I get up the hills, I can get that extra bit more over the 150 I had last year. But likewise, I can slam it right out of the way for the descent. Going on to the bars and stem, got a DMR Defy stem that is in 50mm, and we've got the DMR wing bar. So once again, in all my bikes, one thing I do like to do is try and keep them fairly similar, even though yes, they're totally separate bikes. If I jump on one bike to another, hopefully we don't get too much of a crossover. So that is why we've got the DMR Def grips here. As on all my bikes, we've obviously got the Volt pedals, and as you can see on this particular bike, we've got the SRAM guide brakes. This is very much a stay-at-home bike, get all the miles in on this. I don't really sort of go to bike parks so much on this bike. So let's check out my next bike, which is obviously my DMR sled. So here she is. I guess most people would say this is my work bike. So this is my 160mm trail ripper that I use for many enduro. I'd say the biggest thing this bike, or not this particular bike, but certainly last year I did, was the Mega Avalanche. Obviously I do loads of mini downhills, all that good stuff, but most importantly, this is pretty much my daily bike. So I go on a cross-country ride with this, I'd take it down trail centres, I'd do biggest jumps on it, all that good stuff. Absolutely amazing bit of kit. I guess this is my work bike. This is what started my career with DMR. They brought this out onto the market and they needed some, you know, handsome, good looking chaps to represent it. So I guess I was your man, you know. Anyway, let's talk about it. We obviously start off with the DMR sled frame. Now, as some of you are aware, we gave it an awesome custom spray job courtesy of my good mate Ollie Wilkins. So we ended up, you know, designing it and then taking it to the lovely guys at Fat Creations. So Ali and Becky did an outstanding job, as you can see with the camo. It's a lot harder than what I expected. This thing takes absolutely ages to prepare and design and all that stuff, so I'm really stoked with the finished product. Obviously we went for the camo because of my former military career. As you can see, obviously it matches the seat nicely, the OiOi DMR seat. So we've got the green camo on there. As we said with the other bike, I'm sponsored by Ride Fox UK. As you can see, we're actually running a coil on the back, so we've got a Fox DHX2. And on the front we've got Fox 36s. So I'm actually got 160 mil of travel on the rear, and we've got 170 mil of travel on the front. So basically it is a mini downhill bike that you can still ride up the hill. So it's super good fun. If you want to get all techie, I actually run 3 tokens in these with a pressure of 86, I believe, for my weight, and I'm about 15 stone with all my kit on. If we talk about the crank set, as you can see, I've actually got a Unite chainring on there. That is because at the time DMR don't actually make a chainring suitable for 12 gears, along with the DMR Axe crank. So we can see with these cranks they've actually changed somewhat and they're a bit more stealthy with the black. We've also got the DMR Volt pedals. Now with these particular pedals, unlike the other ones on the other bike, the Brendog ones, I've actually opted for the Kingpin. So it basically means that I get a bit more grip. If it were to go wrong, it also means that I get shredded shins. However, the grip on these pedals is insane, so it's very rare that you fall off the pedals. Once again, I've kept them all the same. So we've got the DMR wing bar up the front, and we've actually gone for a slightly shorter stem on this bike because this frame is an extra large. We've gone for 35 mil stem rather than a 50, so it just means that we're bringing the bars closer to us. We've got the DMR Def grips in orange. We've gone for the soft one, so that obviously means that they're slightly more softer on my little hands, and I've actually gone for the thin ones rather than the thick, just to give a go. And we love a good flange on there as well. Getting into the techie stuff once again, we've got some TRP G-Spec DHRs. So these were the new brake from TRP. The factory Scott team used them, obviously Gwynny used them, and obviously I use them. You know, I'm obviously always hanging off the back of these brakes. So super good, certainly for like the Mega Avalanche and all that good stuff. We're on 180 mil rotors rather than 200 on the big bike. Plenty of stopping power for what I do, certainly in the UK. So this is pretty epic on my sled. This is the Rapid Racer product mudguard. This, unlike normal mudguards, actually bolts onto the rear of the fork. So as you can see straight away, we haven't got any nasty zip ties scratching it or anything like that. But most importantly, as you can see, we've got the custom decals with the OiOi, with all that good stuff. So I'm super pumped about that. As I mentioned on the hardtail, I want bomb-proof wheels. So for this particular bike, because we're doing a lot more trail centres, a lot more bigger bike park, you know, downhill, all that stuff, I've actually opted once again for the Halo Vortex wheels. So these are 35 mil wide, and we have got that super cool loud hub. So that is the Super Drive hub. Really cool. Basically means there's 120 points of engagement. It will basically have instant engagement between me and you. I'm actually waiting on my TRP 12 speed. So as you can see, for now we've got the Shimano one. When I get the 12 speed, we do a little installation video, so hopefully it helps you guys if you're looking to get the bigger gears. We've got 170 mil dropper seat post on there, so it basically means I can slam it right out the way for the descent, put it up for all the climbs, all that good stuff. And I think that is that bike done and dusted. Is there anything else I've missed? Invisiframe. On this bike and my downhill bike, I've had them in Invisiframe. Now, I won't get into it. I'll get into it in another video for sure. When I had my last bike stolen, the Invisiframe honestly saved its life. When I got it back, it was scratched to smithereens. I took the Invisiframe off, and you know, there's just very light markings. Now, if you think that's a stolen bike that's gone through bushes, gone in the back of a van, you know, done all this, when you're out on a trail, it's just going to avoid all the little chips that you get from all the rocks. At the end of the day, if you're spending, you know, 2 to 5 grand or whatever, if you're spending 500 quid, it's well worth it. It's just going to save your frame. So that is my bike in a nutshell. Let's go on to the bigger bad boy one. So last but not least, here is the big rig, and unfortunately I don't really get a chance to ride this all that much because we don't really live in a mountainous area, so that is why the sled becomes my daily. You know, I'd love to ride this more. Unfortunately, it's only had really 2 trips this year, and that is we ended up going with Brendan at the start of the year to Barcelona, and then we rode some stuff in Spain. Then I went to Forest of Dean prior to going to Fox, and then actually I rode another time the other day at Aston Hill, which I was super stoked about, you know, certainly because they're open, and secondly the fact that it means I could ride my downhill bike for a change, so that is super cool. First off, I suppose we better talk about the frame and all that stuff. This is actually a Pivot Phoenix. Those of you who are going, well, how come you got it sprayed DMR? Obviously I ride for DMR. DMR is the household brand of Upgrade Bikes, and Upgrade Bikes import Pivot into the country. Obviously DMR don't own a downhill bike, so that is why I've got permission to ride a Pivot with DMR logos all over it. Hopefully that makes sense for a number of you. As you can see, once again, Ali and Becky at Fat Creations have gone for this amazing paint job, and I can't say thanks again without mentioning Ollie Wilkins. Ollie really helped me design these things, and obviously we wanted to keep the Miami flow, but at the same time we wanted to make it slightly different to last year's bike. We've got the pink, we've got the blue, we've got the black, all that good stuff. Once again, we've Invisiframed it, so it basically means it's nice and safe from any rocks or anything flying up. Now, how this bike differs to last year is we've actually got the Fox 49, so it's actually a 29-inch bike, so it basically means that they're slightly longer to cater for the bigger wheels. And obviously on the rear we've got the same shot, which is Fox Flow X2. As I mentioned, the bigger wheels, what are my feelings on this? Well, I'm a bigger rider, I'm 6'1", basically means that actually for me personally I don't find it a drama. However, when I first took it, my first outing, I did find this a little drama, buzzing me in the backside, but you soon get used to it. We've actually got the Halo 29-inch wheels. I don't know if I can disclose the name of them, but I'm sure you guys can work it out. They are a new downhill wheel that they're going to bring in, and they may have brought in, but we'll wait and see. We've obviously got the muck-off valve, so that does its job. Same as my trail bike, but these are the downhill compound. We've got the Onza Aquila tyres. They're 29 by 2.4. They're actually super good, and I know he won't like me mentioning it, not that he's going to watch this video. But Aaron Gwynn designed them, and he won a number of World Cups on this, but obviously saw the money with another brand, so ended up disappearing. So I'm super stoked with them. I wouldn't really change them. They're super cool. They work well. As you can see, we've got this lovely thing. This is the DMR OiOi Miami saddle that has only come out in the last couple of weeks. So make sure you pre-order it, because do not be disappointed if you want one. All the others sold out pretty quick, so I'll leave the link in the description. We've obviously got the DMR Axe cranks on this once again, so they're slightly shorter than the trail bikes. So these are 165. The DMR Volt pedals with the kingpins give you slightly more gnarlier scars on your legs to show all the chicks in the club, but also gives you plenty more grip on your feet. We've got the MRP chain device on there as well, so it basically means that we're pretty sorted. Now this is quite exciting stuff. On the rear we've got the TRP DH7, so you know we've only got 7 gears on the back. Probably wondering why we've only got 7 gears for those of you that don't ride that much. Well, it's an out and out downhill race bike. I'm not planning on riding up hills or anything like that, so that is enough gears to get me to the bottom of the hill for all I need. We're all singing, we're all dancing. If we look to accompany that, we've got this shifter. So this is obviously the new TRP shifter, the DH7. So this is super good for shifting away all those 7 gears. Got the TRP G-Spec DHRs on the front and the rear, but this time we've got a 203 or 200. It's a big badass rotor, and it'll stop you going down the hill. The DMR wing bars allows me to jump from bike to bike. The sweep's all the same, the length is all the same. Obviously DMR don't make a downhill stem anymore, so we've got a Rempful stem on there, super strong. Got that from my hookup with Halo Ice and Distribution. DMR def grips, in soft, in thin, really works for me. And I don't know if you guys can see, we've got a little add-on on these. You can sort of see the pimpness just oozing out of it. I've got the Rapid Racer product mudguard, super good, does exactly what it says on the tin. However, the difference with this particular one is this is the bolt on, so it basically means that it's not going to scuff your forks on the inside or anything like that. As you can see, plenty of clearance, but at the same time plenty of protection as well. This is the MIDI one. They also do a bigger version. You know, hopefully we don't really need this in this kind of weather, but one thing it does do is protect your stanchions from dust. With these particular forks, we've got 4 spacers in there. We're running 86 psi, and on the rear we're running 240 40 with 3 spacers in there. With all my gear, I'm about 15 stone, and these particular bikes, they're quite linear as far as they're not that progressive, so that is why we've got an air shock. It basically means that we can make this shock super progressive towards the end of the travel. That is this bike in a nutshell. So there we go, guys, that was my 3 bikes. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, a little different to normal, I know. Hopefully everyone is staying safe, everyone is staying well, you're enjoying life, and until the next one, it'd be great if you give it a thumbs up. Be sick if you guys could subscribe. Unfortunately, I haven't got any OiOi saddles to throw away and give you, because these are the only 3 I've got. So hopefully some arrive soon and I'll do a few giveaways. Until next one, I'll see you in a bit. OiOi!